All right. Well, I got the assignment to talk about some problems in U.S. soccer. So there's a lot of things wrong, but one of the things that's kind of like been on my mind the last couple of days has been player identification and recruitment, player recruitment and scouting. Um, Mainly because I recently went to a college recruiting seminar the other day, and the guy talked. It was mainly geared towards, in my opinion, like basketball and baseball and football and stuff like that. But he did touch on some stuff in soccer, which was it was helpful. But uh, it still just it just leaves too many questions, I think, about how U.S. soccer and college soccer and high school soccer and club soccer about how we're identifying our players. Uh, so the biggest question is, how do we identify the absolute best players from the youth level all the way up to the national team? And the one I'll focus on right now is the process to the national team. So I mean, of course, the scouts at a youth level, college level, high school level, club level, the scouts there, they have to be watching the best games. And that's the obvious answer. If they're not watching the best games, they're not going to see the best players. But then you get into, what is the best game? Where are the best games? Where are the best players playing? Is that mean that they're on those premier teams? Uh, I don't know. Because the best games typically go hand in hand with the most money spent. So those best games are also the most expensive games. So that doesn't necessarily mean that the best players are in those best games. And it's true. The guy yesterday in the recruiting seminar said that the uh, the the best way to get recruited is to get exposure. Exposure is key. Um, so how does a kid on a silver level team get the proper exposure? And then in the guy's book, he talks about that most of the kids are getting recruited after going to high level tournaments, playing in high level leagues, and things like that. So some of the tournaments that he listed in his book were Surf Cup, Jefferson Cup, Cerritos Cup, and Disney Showcase. And if you go through and you look at the pricing on those tournaments, Surf Cup is $1,250, Jefferson Cup is $950, Cerritos is $650, Disney Showcase $1,350, and then if you go through and you add in hotel fees, meals, travel, gas, plane tickets, entertainment, all that kind of stuff, you're looking at spending tens of thousands of dollars per tournament. So right there, you're eliminating quite a few people from that best player pool because they can't afford to play in a $1,250 tournament that's 3,000 miles away to get identified by the best coaches. And that's assuming that the best coaches are even going to be watching those games, or the best scouts are even going to be watching those games, because if they don't know who you are, why would they go watch your game if they don't know anything about you? And I don't know. But the pay to play method doesn't even stop there, because the next level in U.S. soccer, which is college soccer, is still pay to play. You still have to pay your tuition. You still have to pay everything for your college just to get that next level playing experience. And that's not even just paying to play. I mean, you're at that point, you're paying tens of thousands of dollars per year for your education. And I'm not saying education is bad by any means, but I mean, you got to be kidding me if you think that those D1 athletes are going there for an education. I mean, half those guys are taking joke classes anyways. So they're really paying tens of thousands of dollars to just play soccer or just play their sport, football, basketball, baseball, whatever they're doing. And I mean, they're paying tens of thousands of dollars to play their sport. And if you're not a top recruit, I mean, everything's coming out of pocket. You're spending your entire life savings or your parents' life savings to play your sport. So, I mean, to have to or to expect those best players now to get through that system of paying to play in the top tournaments in the top leagues on the top teams, and now paying to get through the top schools. I mean, you're dwindling that player pool just at massive percentages at a time. And then if you keep that progression going, you get to MLS, and the player pool for MLS typically is college soccer. So those guys are no longer looking at those other options. They're looking at college soccer, Division One, primarily. I mean, I'm sure Division Two and Division Three and NAIA and schools like that. Every now and then you might get somebody that gets through, but I mean, you're looking at Division One soccer that is expensive. So now your player pool is diluted even more. And then from college and to MLS, you're looking at getting a salary that maybe pays back maybe a fourth of what you spent on college soccer. So, I mean, it's the money that you're spending to bringing in is not very proportionate. And then if you keep that model going again, so now you've cut out half or a bunch of your player pool in the youth system by having the pay to play and the super expensive tournaments and top level leagues and teams, and you're paying coaches and all kinds of that stuff. So you've cut out a bunch of people there. The next level for them is college soccer, which costs tens of thousands of dollars. So you're eliminating even more people there, just pushing them off to the side. The next spot right there, you're asking them to take a career in MLS. You can't even begin to pay back your student loans and all the money you've spent through your youth career. So that player pool is just it just dwindled, and now you get to U.S. soccer, and U.S. soccer is supposed to pick the best players from MLS to field their national team. So you're hoping that the best players got through all the way through that little track all the way to the top level. And I don't know how realistic that is. I just don't see that as being realistic. And most of it is, I think the problem is that middle section, that college soccer section, where those D1 scouts, those D2 scouts are looking for the top players to come and play at their schools, which cost thousands and thousands of dollars more. And it just rules out more. I keep saying half, I don't know why. But it just rules out so many people. So much talent just gets left out just in that right there. Even if there are kids that they play on clubs and they don't have to pay and they find sponsors and things like that. As soon as they get to that college level, that's where I think things start to go, even with scholarships and stuff like that. Some positive things I think are Nike just launched a program called The Chance, and it's supposed to be this worldwide scouting network and things like that, and it's supposed to identify the best players without having to have them pay anything, or I don't know. and then Cal South, where I'm from in Southern California, has this new program called Pro Plus, and it's basically the same idea where they're going to set up these ID camps, and they're not going to be they are going to be free, and anybody will be able to attend, and they're supposed to identify this new undiscovered talent. So I'm optimistic, but I'm skeptical at the same time, because in my opinion, scouts should already be trying to find this best talent, and they're not, because they're wasting all their time at these high-level tournaments and watching only the top and the premier leagues and things like that, where they think that the best players are, and yeah, there is really good players there. I'm not trying to bag on that, but I'm just trying to say that there is talent at the lower levels that just goes completely unnoticed because of this system that we have that's driven by money. And it kind of just, I know we all know it makes the world go round, but it's going to be a problem here in the United States for a long time. And until we find people that have, or until we can find sponsors and funding and things like that for youth programs, or to get our elite kids, our elite players, our truly elite players into the best learning environments and things like that, it's just going to continue to be a problem, because these kids are going to continue to go unnoticed because they don't have the necessary means to get the attention of that scout who needs to see them. So that's my rant. It says it's at 12 minutes right now, so that's my 12-minute rant on one itty bitty problem it's not an itty bitty problem, but it's an itty bitty rant on a big problem that I don't know enough about, and I can educate myself a lot more on it if I wanted to, and I need to. So yeah, I know this was kind of this project stemmed from me saying that I was bored on Twitter, and somebody telling me to make a video talking about problems in U.S. soccer, and I don't see this as being my last video. So this is just a rough draft, I think, of what can really be, and I turned the camera on and started ranting. Now, the only thing I did look up was the prices on those tournaments, because I knew that I wanted to talk about that. So yeah, so it's at 13 minutes now. I think that's enough for tonight. All right, bye.